Welcome, welcome. I think I've been live for a moment without realizing. So welcome to this live video. Welcome to this brand new week. I hope it's got off to a good start for you. It's got off to a pretty good start for me, I have to say, because I think partly because I have done 5 of my online dance classes. No, four over the last 4 days. And, I feel good. My body feels good. This self-care stuff, it really, really works. So if you needed a little reminder about that, consider yourself reminded. So today, I want to inspire you with a parenting store cupboard essential that we might overlook, or that you might have forgotten or not come across before, and that is the humble pause. The humble pause. Let me know below if this is something that you're aware of, that you try to practice in your parenting, just to pause. And in case we don't know each other, I'm Una Alexander, and I help you radically love your child all the way to happiness, naturally great behavior, and a really enjoyable family life where everything flows. And so the pause, etymologically, the pause is derived from an old Greek word that means to stop. So why would we stop? When things get tricky in the home, we're often looking for a solution. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do when he says this? What do I do when she turns my face to like that? What do I do when when he says, when I'm telling him not to do something and he says you're a dinosaur? What do I do? What do I say? And yeah, I get it. And actually I'm going to say something about what you can actually do at the end of this video. But first of all, I really, really, really recommend pausing. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why. Okay, so number 1, when you pause, you model a mindful approach to life as a whole. And many of you, and this might be you listening, find that your children are kind of going from 0 to 60 in a second, in a split second, when they come up against something frustrating, or something isn't going their way in life. They're just they're sky high straight away. So when you model the pause, you model a mindful approach, you model the message that this is not an emergency. Unless it is, of course, then you must take action. But you model to your child, and you model to yourself, to your own subconscious, the point of view, the approach that this is not an emergency. And how valuable is that? Because that brings everything down, that grounds everyone. Everyone who's to do with this situation feels grounded by that. And modeling is really powerful. I don't know about you, but I used to think that modeling was about, kinds of behaviors that then, if we modeled them, then, 20, 30 years down the line, when our children were big and big grown-ups in the world, that they would follow us, what we had done 20 or 30 years earlier. But it's really not like that at all. It's kind of quite instantaneous when we model something different, truly different. So, number 2, the pause gives you time to take a breath. And I do mean that quite literally, because when you take a breath, and even better, a deep belly breath, this activates your prefrontal cortex and the part of your brain that is more emotionally attuned, that is more rational, that isn't going to lead you down the road of fight, flight, freeze, or faint. So it's not going to lead you to react or walk out of the room or go into analysis paralysis or just go into overwhelm. The other kinds of responses that can so easily come up, and understandably, the pause helps you change your emotional state so that you can have time to breathe and respond with more maturity, with more self-possession, in a more empowered way. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, the pause gives you time to observe the situation. I'll give you a really great example of this. When I used to run parent and child groups, there was a little boy who was on the floor, and the first thing I noticed about him was that he had a brick in his hand, a wooden brick, and he was pushing a girl with this brick. And of course, the first thing that went through my mind was, I can't let this be happening. That looks bad. That looks dangerous, or, it looks a little aggressive. I mustn't let that happen. So that was my kind of fight, flight, or freeze response. And then I remembered my own teaching, and I paused. And I had a look, and I saw that this boy was building something quite intricate, and that the girl was standing perilously close to that intricate construction. So I understood that the boy had a brick in his hand because he was building and not because he wanted to hit her with the brick. He just happened to be building. She came too close and he was pushing against her with the brick that he happened to have in his hand. And so I understood the whole situation much better just through pausing. And so I could respond appropriately to what had happened, what was happening. So number 4, pausing gives us also time for things that might resolve themselves. So sometimes we don't actually need to solve something. The situation will move on of its own accord. 2 children who are tugging at something might find a resolution of their own accord. And, not every situation needs us to step in and teach children a lesson about it. In fact, it's probably wiser to talk about things afterwards. So pausing allows situations to get back into flow, and you open the space for that simply by pausing. Wonderful. So number 5 is, with pausing, you allow yourself time to be inspired by more powerful, effective responses than just saying, stop doing that, don't do that, haven't I told you not to do that, and so on. You will find space for things like humorous response, for problem solving with your child, or for acknowledging their point of view. So for example, with the boy with the brick, I said to him, it looks like you don't want the name of the little girl to knock down your building, your construction there. And he nodded. And then I could say to him, well, do you know what? You can ask her to step back. Now, he was a boy who didn't like saying that much, and so he didn't actually say anything. So I then said to him, would you like me to ask her to step back? And he nodded. And so I asked her to step back, and she stepped back, and the whole situation was resolved because of the pause. So I hope this has been helpful. And if you've enjoyed it and would like a little bit more information about the what next after the pause, what to do, then I'd really recommend downloading my free guide, Solve the Struggle with Your Kids, which does what it says on the tin. And that will give you a range of options of things to say and do after the pause. And that's available on my website, unaalexander.co.uk/solve the struggle. And solve the struggle has no dots, no hyphens, no underscores, no nothing. It's literally unaalexander.co.uk/solve solve the struggle. So do go there now and download that, and give me a heart if you've enjoyed this video, and all the best to you. See you next week.